All right, folks, you're live with Lounge to the Godfather of the West Coast Hip Hop and the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce. Today, I'm the host of the Compton Chronicles. Today, I have a guest on my show, good friend of mine, good buddy of mine, all the above, Mr. Fred Shaw. Fred Shaw has a case he wants to share with us today, folks. Fred, take it over.
Yes, and thank you again for having me on your show. You're always there, and you're a great leader. You're willing to help everyone, and I'm glad that you are my buddy and my friend. Um, what I wanted to bring to the audience's attention is a young man by the name of Brennan Deepak. Now, this young man committed a crime, but I wanted to show how the psychiatric system and the surrounding systems don't even believe each other. In other words, this young man is being punished because he was a 6'6", 270-pound black man. And they're not taking into account that he was 17 years old, suffering from autism spectrum and several other diagnoses. Now, what happened was he does have autistic spectrum. And what that means is that he's not only autistic, but there's a wide range of emotional and behavioral things that can occur. He's in the system where he had been violent before. But even with that, all of the money we spend on so-called mental health training, all of the money we spend and back in these labels and things like that did not change the fact that the people working with him did not know how to work with him, and that the judicial system is penalizing him even though he suffers from at least 4 different mental health diagnosed disorders. So what happened was this young man was in school. He's playing with a Nintendo game. The teacher's aide comes, takes the game, and he attacks the teacher's aide. Now, we don't know, and he hurt her. I mean, she's not dead or anything like that, but he's a big guy, 6'6", 270. So she got hurt. And nobody's saying that there shouldn't be any consequences. However, why is it that the judicial system is trying to give this young man, who was 17 at the time, 30 years in prison? 17, autistic, with other diagnoses, and they're trying to give him 30 years in prison. Now, the reason why this is so strange to me, you and I can go to court. They can order me and you to do anger management. They can order us to take medication. They can do all of that, back this psychiatric system up with the law. But then when it comes to a man who is being properly, not properly in the sense of his ability to correct what's wrong with him, but properly according to their system, and he's been diagnosed with at least one of them is like some kind of explosive disorder, meaning that he can be violent. So you know that, but you put him in a setting where he can fail. You have teachers' aides that don't know. You just walk up and take something from an autistic child. You can't take something from me and you. So here he is with this diagnosis. Teacher goes up. Now, she's supposed to be trained. You're not supposed to be working with these kids if you're not trained. I mean, that's what we pay all this money for, mental health education and mental health this and so you don't know that you don't walk up to a kid that's autistic and just take their toy. Most of us know that they will respond. How violently, that depends on how big they are and what kind of effect they can create. But You are supposed to know better than that. Where's the documentation that this young man has had training to where you give him something and then you get him to give it back, give him something, get him to give it back, to where he's flat on that and he can have somebody actually take his toy gently and he cooperate. So for them to be giving him 30 years, that means they don't even believe their own system, or we have to go with the fact because he's a 6'6" black man, he's being punished for being what is stereotypically being called afraid of big black men. And I would think that even if that was true and you wanted to punish him because he was black, then why, though, are you ignoring the diagnoses that this young man is getting given by the system that you back? Why are we allowing this to happen? And so I'm coming on your show, I'm coming on other shows, I'm just bringing the attention to the falsehood of the mental health system and the systems that surround it, because they're supposed to be working hand in hand and they're supposed to be coming up with conclusions that is beneficial for everyone.
I thought there was, maybe I could be wrong, but I thought you really couldn't prosecute somebody with a mental, prosecute them criminally for a mental person that had a mental condition.
Well, you know, the truth of the matter is, and that may be correct in theory, but you know, when certain people are involved, the theory goes out the window. I mean, I would have thought that the system would have said, well, we have to take this in consideration. We'd have to look at the fact that he has been diagnosed. We have to figure out if a mental health setting is better for him, which may not be the case. Because see, the problem is we can't think with this, Alonzo, because the whole system is fraudulent. So we can't think with this. We're pounded into our psyche that the mental health system is the save all. It's pounded into our minds that the psychiatric drugs work. It's pounded into our minds that these people are the authority when all they can do is be the authority by walking around with titles. I guarantee you, if they gave them in the mental health field 10 young men to fix, gave me and you 10 young men to fix, same diagnosis, we're assuming that the playing field is level. I guarantee you that me and you could do more with them to help them than they could, just because, and this is a little trick here, you and I are more educated than the sites. Now they say, wait a minute, Reverend Shaw, now, you know, I hear you, but more educated. See, because we're trapped into the mindset that the only way you get educated is if you go to school. Learning is learning. So if you and I grew up in these streets, seeing all the different experiences, seeing the alcoholic, the drug addict, the mentally challenged, we grew up operating in this system. How is a person who only studied about it in books of people who never lived it going to be better at it than you and I? Give you an example, because I know somebody in that audience is saying, well, yeah, that sounds cute. I had a young man in my group homes. You remember I ran 24-hour residential care facilities for probation kids. They had a young man that they gave me, and he had this mean look on his face. He was a big guy, maybe 6'2", 6'3", strong. I walked into the group home. He looked at me. He said, "You want a box?" I said, "Oh Lord, what did I got? What do I have here?" I told him, I said, "They won't let me box you. I couldn't box him as staff. We actually put boxing in our program. So when kids got so mad at each other, they put on the gloves, put on the headgear, put in the mouthpiece, and they could go out in the backyard. We put a referee there in case anybody got knocked down, and there wasn't no kicking, wasn't none. You had to fight.
Right.
But I couldn't, as a staff, box one of the boys. So I took him out on the basketball court. I noticed he was quick, he was strong. You know, he wasn't as good as I was, but he could, I could see he was fast, had power. So what I did was took him up to local high school. I ain't calling names on purpose. And went to the football coach and I said, you might want to look at this kid. So the coach had him do a little couple of minor things. He said, you know what? Bring him to me tomorrow. Don't bring him to the administration, bring him to me. So I took him back to the coach. The coach handled all of this administration stuff, everything. This young man not only graduated, played 4 years at USC, won a national championship, I think, with Reggie Bush in there, played for the Philadelphia Eagles. And the recommendation when he came to my group home was to be put in continuation school and on psych drugs. The whole time he was in my group home, I had to write him up several times because he wasn't getting back to the group home on time. One of the boys in the group home say, oh, he be late because he walks that girl home and then he comes here. Now, when I was a young man, I would walk the girls home.
Right.
So why would I punish him? So I do the write-ups and say, man, you got to come in, but I'm not going to take him off the football team. I'm not going to stop all of the positive stuff going on because he's coming in 20, 30 minutes late. And then I find out that he's just walking a girl home. So when he graduated from our group home, I gave him all of his write-ups. I'd never turned in one. Because I'm not going to punish him for doing what a normal kid, what I was taught to do.
Right, right.
You and I come from a time when we was taught, walk the girl home. Make sure, you know, that gives you brownie points and stuff, you know. So the thing is that they come at us with all of this stuff, but they don't even believe in the system they have. And it's the people like you and I who understand life and how it works. Because we grew up looking at it.
Right.
You didn't just get up off the turnip truck. You was in the mix of things.
Yep.
I was in the mix of things. So there's things we learn and that we know that people who have never been there don't know.
Very true, Fred. Experience is a monster, man. Experience is a blessing. And that's what a lot of people don't get a chance to experience. You know, there's certain things you can't learn in books, certain things you can't learn in the classroom, certain things you have to learn by doing. And that's what experience is.
Exactly. And so, you know, when we see that, another case is a young man who was in a group home. We had the reputation of taking the kids that nobody else wanted. We didn't give up on them. And yeah, it'd be tough up in that house sometimes. I had kids up there at one point was gang banging in the house, running up with socks with soap in it, attacking other kids and stuff. But we were able, through tough love, toughness, and getting the kids to understand that we care about you and your future. And we being tough on you because life gonna be tough on you.
Right.
And we don't want you to spend the next 30 years in prison when I can take 30 minutes and be hard on you and help save you. So I went to this group home. The kid was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. He wouldn't cooperate. He was defiant. So I go, and they said he had ADHD. So I go, and I asked the young man, I said, would you talk to me? He said, I don't want to, but I will. I said, okay, well, let me tell you, I'll just go ask you 5 or 6 questions, and then we'll see where we go from there. So I asked him, what's the longest you played Nintendo? And he said, for hours, all day. Okay, what's the longest you ever talked to a girl on the phone? Hours. Did she become your girlfriend, or any girl you talk to that long become your girlfriend? Yeah. Have you ever read a full comic book? Yeah. Did you know what was going on at the end of the story? Yeah. Have you ever played basketball, football, or some other sport? Yeah. Were you able to complete the game, or did you have to stop because you got confused or whatever? No, it's just playing a game. I know how to play a game. And there may have been one or two other questions. I said, final question. Would you like to go with me to my group home? He looked at me, you serious? I said, yeah. He said, yeah, I'll go with you. So I said, you can come to my group home. The people from that at the facility we was at came out and they was like, what was the idea of that questioning? What did that prove? I said, well, it proved that he can pay attention to anything he's interested in. So therefore, he doesn't have ADHD.
Right.
And they would just stare. I took the boy to my room. He became a professional bodyguard for celebrities. He run marathons, contributing to society, working jobs, doing that. In fact, we got a young man who I won't call over the air. You can ask me later. You know his mom. He came to my group home. This boy had this intimidating look. He would get into it. The people at Silmar juvenile facility choked him out, almost killed him, all this stuff. I had seen him at our program. We ran a program called Genesis in Linwood, and he had been in there, and all the other kids were scared of him except for a few. And I was coming through Los Catrinas, saw him sitting in the area, and I said, what are you doing here? He said, oh man, they moved me here, blah, blah, blah. I said, son, I know you. You want to go to my group home? He said, yeah, Mr. Shaw, I'll come to your group home. I brought him out. This kid was a mess. But when we got through with him, right now, he's a supervisor over electrical program and stuff, making good money in Oklahoma. Living good.
Okay.
And after the show, I'll tell you who his mother is.
All right, that'll work. I got a question for you, Fred.
Mm-hmm.
I just, a buddy of mine just called me the other day and said that effective immediately, that in juvenile facilities, they will no longer be able to use pepper spray, any type of restraints on the kids. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that as a person who works in that justice system?
Well, let me just say this to you. Pepper spray and stuff like that should be allowed only in situations where someone is in danger.
Okay.
I don't think you use that type of stuff on kids. However, the court systems and the recommendations of mental health has made it to where probation officers cannot do their job. So basically what they want to do is let the kids create a problem and create situations where you can lock them all down and drug them. That's what they really want to do. It is not. Brother, I put my hand on the Bible. Right now, they could give me 10% of the probation money and let me go in and get the kids that they're afraid of and let us handle it our way. And that's not socking kids. That's not. But one of the things that you gotta have is consequences. The secret to the success of my group home, the rules were clear. Home visits, what it took to get there was clear. And then you have a system, which they don't know in probation, that allows the kid to redeem himself. So what happens is he's acted up all week. He wants to go home. It's Thanksgiving. He don't want to sit at the group home, but he been a screw up. But then there's this little clause that you can do X amount of exercise, and it's all laid out. or you could do X amount of chores, cleaning stuff. We had where if you clean the entire kitchen, including mop the floor, that was X amount of points. So at the end of the day, he could redeem himself, work his butt off, and then be cleared to go home.
Okay.
But he knew there was consequences.
Okay.
After a while, because we were able to do this, because one day we had this big meeting in my group home, and the boys were all complaining about staff. I said, I'll do you a favor. I said, I'll have the staff come in. They won't speak to you unless you speak to them. You don't have to have them tell you anything. You guys run your own program. You guys get yourself up in the morning. You guys cook your own food in the morning. You guys go to school and come back on time and do it. And I won't let staff even speak to you.
Mm.
They agreed. And do you know they were able to hold it together 3 months?
Wow.
3 months. Because there was something in it for them.
Mm.
So our secret is we would take them kids. We taught them martial arts. They learned the discipline part and the spiritual part of the martial arts. Then we had a rigorous tutoring program to where kids who couldn't spell their name, if you laid it out on sheets of paper, was able to read to where the probation officers cried.
Mm.
The kid is crying, the probation officer's crying, and I'm teary-eyed. Because I know when he walked in, he wasn't even reading on the 1st grade level.
Mm.
And now he's reading on the 4th or 5th grade level. And everybody's shocked. Now, because of the educational part, he sees a future. He's not behind in everything like he was. Now he knows he can learn. All the diagnosis, we asked him, do you have that disorder? Do you have it? I don't think I have it. Then throw it out the window. It ain't no good. Throw it out the window. We make them literally reach on their head, grab it, and throw it out the window.
Crazy.
Nobody here is going to say you got ADHD. Nobody here is going to say you have that. And we start turning out products. We had a state lady say, where did you handpick these kids? Because she got there early. A staff member was there, but myself and my sister wasn't there. She said, where did you handpick these kids? And I gave the background of each one of those kids. And she said, we need you training all the other group homes. Because when she walked in the door, she was greeted by one of the young men, invited in, asked if she want water or coffee. She couldn't believe it. We got them to buy into our program. So when I say we could take any of these and create a kid that is beneficial, it's really simple. Teach him how to read, show him where the money is, and show him that you care. It's really that simple.
Okay.
Show him where the money, and you say, hey, you want to be an auto mechanic? We've been talking to these places. You can go and start learning. Or you can go in the Job Corps and you can start learning this. Or you can go, you show him where the money is. Educate him to where he believes in himself. Teach him some of the morals of society, because people think morals mean being good. No, it means making decisions that help you survive in the future.
Yeah.
You see? That's it, brother.
All right. Fred, good talking to you, Doc, as always. Fred is probably one of my most frequent interviews, and he always comes with something dynamic, something informative, and that's why I like having him on my show. Fred, what else you got to say before we wrap up?
I just want to tell people that especially if you live in the LA County area, we have the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. We have the Psychiatry and Industry of Deaf Museum. It gives a 500-year history from the beginning of psychiatry all the way through to the modern day educational system. You've seen it and was amazed at the content in it. Everything in it is true. So it's at 6616 Sunset Boulevard, 6616 Sunset Boulevard. Citizens Commission on Human Rights. If anybody on your show want to find out about the task force that we're a part of, which you are our celebrity spokesperson, contact me at fshawjr@yahoo.com, fshawjr@yahoo.com. Just put Alonzo, or is this the Compton Chronicles?
Compton Chronicles, Compton Entertainment Chamber, either one.
So you just put that in the subject line, and then I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I check every day, and when I see that in there, Alonzo's name, Compton Chronicles or the Compton Entertainment, then I will know where it came from, and I'll get back with you as quick as I can. With that said, my brother, thank you again. We got most shows to do in the future, things to do. We got to save our people. And the next time, I'll show the connection between the destruction of religion, the destruction of education, racism, how it's all connected from the source of mental health.
All right, Fred. Thank you very much, folks. This is Alonzo, the president of the Compton Entertainment Chamber of Commerce and the host of the Compton Chronicles, folks. Thank you for watching. Here we go. Peace.